All right. Okay. Cool. I just want to bring up my notes. Are we gonna make the joke about? It's like we're home alone now. We're the Adam's not here supervising.
I was just say we kicked him out after the Attack of the Clones review.
Okay, so this is a special episode we're doing.
There's probably going to be a lot of special episodes.
Probably.
Adam's a busy guy. He's in our editing suite, our very expensive editing suite, editing episodes. Cut to our editing suite here.
He's getting busier and busier the more and that all the new effects with
we got some After Effects coming on. We got our rendering farm back at the house getting all the CGI done.
He's gonna have maybe we'll put a little 3D model of Adam here just from time to time. He'll show up or he'll do that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't want to go too hard with these because if I ever have to edit and he's in one of these, he's gonna give it to me hard. So it's not.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, here we are, the Chad and Kyle show of Uncultured. What? That's a good name.
Okay.
But yeah, I mentioned in our Rise of Skywalker episode that I wanted to do a review of Willow.
Yeah.
Cut to the clip of me saying that. I want to do a Willow episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mostly just wanted to do this because I brought that up in that episode because it's just a few hours. I think it was that day that they announced the Willow TV show was coming out.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, man, I haven't seen Willow since I was 7, so over 20 years, and I barely remember it. I remember it being pretty good though. So
I've never seen it
until now.
Until now,
yeah.
So
did you have any expectations about it? Like, have you heard anything about it before seeing it?
The only thing I remember ever seeing about it is, I don't know if it was like a meme or something of we'll consult the bones.
Okay.
I remember seeing it as part of memes of it would be just a picture of we'll consult the bones and however it was turned into a meme or whatever.
All right. I've never seen those memes.
And then I feel I was what is this about? And I saw the original clip of what it was, what it was supposed to be like. So
yeah, I feel until the show came out, no one ever talked about Willow. I had never seen those memes. I'm the only time I ever remember anyone in pop culture talking about it is the scene in the movie Fanboys, where they break into the Lucas archives and everyone's freaking out about Star Wars, Indiana Jones. And I think it's Jay Baruchel who's "Look, Willow."
Yeah.
Hey, I got Willow's spell book. Willow, little guy. Magical Kaya. Who cares about Willow?
Yeah.
Willow guy. No one cares. That's how I think the whole world feels about Willow. So I'm we should watch this. We should watch George Lucas try to make an actual fantasy movie. Not fantasy in space, but an actual fantasy movie.
Yeah.
So
I remember that now. I feel it just sort of sometimes comes up to anytime someone talks about Warwick Davis.
Yes, this is his big claim to fame for a while.
Yeah,
because the story of how this movie got made was that George Lucas wanted to make a fantasy movie. Originally, he wanted to call the movie Munchkins, which I'm that wouldn't play well nowadays.
No, it wouldn't.
But he met Warwick Davis, who played Wicket the Ewok in Return of the Jedi. Is you know what? We always have the underdog go in, the little guy underdog go off in the big adventure. Let's make him actually a little guy.
Jeez.
And that's the actual impetus behind the movie. And he knew Warwick Davis, so it's hey, you want to be in this movie? Cool.
It's kind of wild, in the Village, how many of little people actors you see that you recognize.
Oh yeah, there's that one guy, the warrior. He's from Seinfeld. He was Kramer's buddy.
Yeah. Tony Cox.
Yeah.
I recognized him. Kenny Baker was in the Village too.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's uncredited. I had to look it up because I was I'm sure that's Kenny Baker. He's one of the band members. During the festival.
Yeah.
and he shows up during like the consult the bones scene. He's like in the rafters and that.
Yeah. But speaking of the bones, the wizard is Billy Barty, who I know most from UHF, which stay tuned for that one. But yeah, a lot of like well-known little people actors in this movie. But yeah, Warwick Davis, apparently he was only 18 when he shot this movie.
I had to look that up too, because I feel like from what I remember about that bones, like everything I'm going to be referencing is that one scene.
Right.
Of like what I knew of it. And I just, like, from my memory of that scene was he had to have been really young.
Yeah.
And I was like even picturing younger than 18.
Yeah, but then in the movie, he's like a family man.
Yes, and it's like still like, even knowing that he's 18 and all that, it's like he's still like, I just have a hard time with it that he's like, he is a family man, because it's like
he looks so young.
He
too.
still looks so young.
Yeah, but I think that's cool though, because usually in a fantasy movie, like, part of the adventure is like them like getting the girl and like that's like the end game. Like that's like the happily ever after.
Yeah.
So having the main character be like a family man with kids back at home is kind of cool and like a novel idea. Yeah,
it's like the reward will be him getting to go back.
Yeah, and also makes the baby relationship a little better because he
like more palatable because
he had kids, so it's like
I want to talk about the opening of the movie.
With the opening crawl, it's not a crawl, but it's like a very fantasy movie, like the evil queen Bav Morda, which that feels like someone punched a keyboard and then added the appropriate vowels. Like that's like Bav Morda. Like that's not a real. That's a dumb name.
I never considered that, but
the movie starts out pretty hardcore with baby murder. It gets biblical.
That's what I have it here. It's very biblical. Like it's like it happens twice in the Bible that I can think of. Like,
right.
Where like,
you know who'd be able to tell us that? Adam.
Yes, Adam would be able to tell us that. I mean, because like there's twice in the Bible where like a ruler is like afraid of like
the chosen one.
Yeah, of like yes.
That's essentially what happens in this movie. The chosen one.
And it's like I was there like this is like ripped right from the Bible. Like putting the baby in a basket and floating it down the river is like Moses, so it's very
Well, Lucas steals his ideas. We all know this. Like Star Wars is just him stealing from samurai movies.
Yeah.
So it's like, but man, there is a lot to talk about. Like in general, like did you like the movie? Like we kind of skipped over that.
Like I mean, I enjoyed it. I have a few problems with it that we'll talk about later. I the whole time I was watching it, well, most of the time I was watching it, I was there like, I want to watch The Princess Bride. This has such Princess Bride vibes.
When I watched this on Disney Plus, as soon as the movie, you know, had those recommended things.
It's the Princess Bride.
Yeah, it's the Princess Bride. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. The other thing about it, I think that I appreciate, but I don't know.
That's the key thing. I appreciate this movie. I enjoy it, but I think I'm pretty much where you are. It has a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But it's also a really charming movie.
Yes.
So it's like it's kind of a mixed bag in general.
Yeah. It's funny because it's probably like a Lucasfilm movie that hasn't been like remastered or anything, or like the effects haven't been touched. So it's funny when you think of like the effects and stuff like that, like especially like the dragon scene and stuff like that.
The two-headed thing?
Yeah.
I like that scene. That's fun.
But I really liked that it hasn't been touched up, because I was like, this is probably what it was like for Star Wars movies.
Yeah, well, because people care about Star Wars, so he was like, I'm going to touch this up. No one cares about Willow. Which is crazy. They're making a TV show about a movie no one talks about or cares about.
Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from.
I was talking to Benny Boy, friend of the show, Benny Boy. I'm bringing it up again. The other night, and like I mentioned that we were doing a podcast on Willow, and he loves Star Wars. He loves like George Lucas stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I've never heard of that." I'm like, "Really?" Like, even people who love Star Wars like don't know about Willow, so it's like crazy. And like apparently, even getting this movie made was like a huge pain in the ass, because This was in a pre-Lord of the Rings era. Like, fantasy was, like, box office poison. Like, no studio wanted to back a fantasy movie. The only reason this got backed by MGM,
Yeah.
the Lion, because George Lucas and the head of MGM were old friends.
Really?
So it's like, yeah, I'll give it, because he went to Fox, who produced Star Wars, and they're like, no. Like, we'll lose so much money. So they made a deal, and this movie did turn a profit. Like,
I was gonna say they probably didn't, but it did. Yeah.
$35 million to make, which is so crazy nowadays.
I wonder what the inflation is for that. Like what it would be equivalent to.
I don't know. I'm just going by what I read. 35 to make, and it made 138 at the box office.
Really?
Yes.
That's surprising.
But that was still below what they thought the movie was going to do. But it also made a lot of money, weirdly, on on home video and cable syndication. Which is especially weird because no one knows it, even though it made a lot of money doing that for some reason.
Do you know what it makes me think of Jim Henson's Dark Crystal?
It does, yeah.
I'm wondering, like...
But people know the Dark Crystal more than they know Willow.
Oh, they definitely do.
Which is weird.
But, okay, Dark Crystal is 82, so...
This is 88.
88, so I was just wondering, like, are they, like, riding off each other's success or anything like that?
I don't know how well Dark Crystal did financially at the box office, but there was a lot of movies beforehand that did that's why it was poison. Like there's a movie like Crawl or like Legend with Tom Cruise, directed by Ridley Scott. You ever seen that movie?
No, don't think I've heard of that.
We're gonna watch that someday because we'll watch that. But like movies like that just did terribly, so that's why everyone was so afraid to back it. And then it wasn't until like Peter Jackson in 2001 where it's like, we can turn this into something people want to see. Now like we have like big budget things like the Lord of the Rings TV show, and like there's this Willow TV show where it's like 30 years ago back doing something like that with fantasy. It was like, no, you don't do it. Yeah. Because you're not going to make money. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I just thought I'd give a history lessons. Because it's like the movie's more, like I said, it's more fascinating than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back into the movie, I like Val Kilmer a lot in the movie.
I liked Val Kilmer. I liked his character, like
Mad Mardigan.
Yes, Mad Mardigan.
Which I always thought was like Mad Dash Mardigan, like he's like it's like a title. It's all one name. Yes. I'm like, that's confusing.
Some odd names in like
a lot of there's some racial slurs.
Is there?
Peck.
Oh, but I don't understand what that's a reference to.
Yeah, that's I think it's you're supposed to assume it's some kind of derogatory term between the Nelwyn, which is the race of Willow's race. Because there's a part where Val Kilmer's in the cage and it keeps calling him a peck, and it's like, don't call me a peck.
Well, that was really stupid, Peck.
Don't call me a peck.
Oh, I'm sorry. Peck.
You be careful.
Yeah.
So and then there's the thing where he goes to the bar and everyone calls him a peck and throws lettuce at him. I'm like, okay, based on the world building and the information, I'm assuming this is some kind of a racial slur towards there's no clear definition, but I'm just
I thought you meant like actual racial slurs, like in our world.
Oh no.
Okay, no. Yeah.
But I mean, within universe, that's what it seems like.
Yes. Yeah. Like, I mean, I liked there's like a bit of a redemption arc with his character and all that. Like, there was
all the characters have really well set up arcs too. But Mad Mardigan feels very much like a Han Solo type.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's like he has his old buddy who walks up on the sword, comes up on his horse. He's like, "You've never done anything for anyone. You only look out for yourself." And then the whole movie is like him like kind of redeeming that. But yeah, even just his first scene in that cage is so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "You gonna listen to him? You don't tell him what to do? Listen to it." Like he's like mediating the conversation, trying to get everyone angry.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah. Like that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I liked when they were in the bar or whatever, and he's dressed up as the woman, and he's like he kind of like anticipates what's going on when it's revealed that he's a man, and then the husband,
the creepy husband who just sees this woman and immediately grabs her breast. It's like, whoa.
Yes.
It's like, do you want to breed? Like, ugh.
Wanna breed?
Tempting, but no.
Like they made him out to be a really like creepy,
like a cartoon, like
Yes.
cartoon. And then when he finds out he's a man, he's like, he's a man.
You're no woman.
Now, honey.
Not a woman!
Easy.
Gentlemen, not a woman! Meet Lug.
And during that fight scene, you can hear, even though you can't see him, you can hear him in the background
Yes.
saying, he's a man. They're running around on horses. He's a man.
But they really did his character well. Val Kilmer's, where he's like, oh yeah, and here's Lug, and like immediately like he steps out of the way for Lug swinging at him,
Right,
and takes
yeah.
out the guards, and I was just like,
He called
that's
that.
a cool character moment,
Yeah.
like. So.
But yeah, I like Willow in general. He has a
Yes.
really good character arc of just him being confident in himself,
Yes.
which was really good. I like how his his stage magicianry
Yes.
comes into play at the end.
I wrote that it was like a really cool, like, I don't know if you call it like a Chekhov's gun, but
It's just setup and payoff. Perfect
Yes,
setup and payoff.
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. A lot of the missteps the movie has, the character setup and payoff for the most part is done really well.
Yes.
But speaking of characters, two characters that I do not like in the movie. Two of them. Can you guess who I'm talking about?
I think I know one of them would be Sorsha.
I have problems with her, but that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking
And
about
the brownies?
yes. I those guys are. I find them very annoying.
Yes, I did too.
They're like the R2D2 and C3PO of this movie, except way more annoying.
Yeah, and they were like set up with like punchlines that weren't like
Funny.
yeah, weren't the greatest. And I don't know. I thought it was an odd character choice. They have like vaguely French accents.
I couldn't tell behind the distortion because they're artificially raising their
Yes.
voice. It was hard to tell any accent from me.
I thought it would sound vaguely French to me, which is like Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak. I don't know who the other guy is.
I
but
don't recognize the other guy, but like Kevin Pollak doing a French accent isn't
Yeah.
that great.
No. And he, in the latest trailer I watched for the show, they're back.
Specifically, those two.
Yeah, well, at least Kevin Pollak's in there. I don't know about the other guy, but like, I'm like, oh no, you could have left that. Like, we're cool. You don't need to bring them back.
I wanna talk about the trailer when we're all the show when we're all done.
Yeah, I just when it
So,
comes up to it, I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
But it also there's a scene with the two of them that's really creepy. The thing with the love potion.
what the creepy.
When they have like the one guy has like a golden amulet or something, or it's a
Yeah,
satchel
yeah.
that has like the broken heart thing.
Dust?
Yeah,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though it's the opposite of broken heart, it makes you fall
Yeah.
in love. There's a part where the guy gets sprayed with the when they're in the bar.
Yes.
And one of them gets sprayed with the dust, and he looks at the cat.
Yes.
Those very love potions. You are so beautiful. Your eyes, your whiskers. I have to kiss you.
That's creepy and weird, but before that, I'm like, please, for the love of God, do not look at the baby. I was like, don't. Like, I remember liking this movie. Did this movie age that poorly? Even in '88, people would be like, no. Like, no.
When that happened, I was expecting it to go in a different direction with because he's wearing a mouse, like a mouse's head as like a hat, and I
Right.
thought the cat was like gonna like
Okay.
start chasing him or something like that, be thinking he was a mouse.
No, apparently the punchline for the mouse hat was the fact that he's bald underneath of it.
Well, how's that a punchline?
Do you remember that part though?
No.
At the end of the movie, the guy when he's seeing off Willow, he takes off his hat and he's bald and he's like waving his hat, and the other guy looks at him like, "What? He's bald?"
I must have missed that.
Like, how long have you known this guy? You didn't know he's bald? like, yeah, it was a really lame joke. I'm like, that's okay. He's bald. Like, bald people are people too.
Yeah, freak.
We're not the punchline of a joke, George Lucas. Also speaking of George Lucas, he produced the movie, but he didn't direct it. It was directed by
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard, aka the narrator from Arrested Development.
Yes. He's also directed quite a bit of stuff.
Oh yeah,
too,
he
but
directed.
yes. Rush. That's one of my favorite movies.
Okay, I don't think I've seen it. But like, didn't he direct like A Beautiful Mind and stuff like that too?
Yes.
Yes, and Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Well, he came in after Phil Lord and Chris Miller were fired.
After they were fired because they didn't like the fact that Disney didn't like the fact they were turning into an overt comedy. So it's like, get them out of here. Even though I would have loved to seen that version of the movie.
Yes, I would too. Yeah.
But
George Lucas he executive produced it, but he also co-wrote it.
yes, he did. Yeah. But he did that like with Indiana Jones and stuff too. But Spielberg directed those and stuff like that. So Willow's like the weird one between two giant franchises.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
I mean, yeah, I guess you'd think it would be overshadowed. It makes sense that it's overshadowed, but also like you'd think like people who are so obsessed with George Lucas's work would want to know about all his work.
Exactly, because the movie is structurally a lot like Star Wars. Like we said, Mad Mardigan's a lot like Han Solo.
Yeah.
Willow, in a way, is kind of like Luke because it's like the hero's journey.
Yes, yeah.
George Lucas even said it was based off, because Star Wars he based off of famous mythology, like the structure and stuff.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with this movie, so it's like it all follows like a pattern of stuff like that.
There was one thing with Mad Mardigan that he said, and it's kind of being nitpicky in that, but after he gets hit with the dust or whatever, and he falls for sword shot.
I want to. Yeah, that's a whole thing we can talk
there's
about.
a whole thing about that, but they kind of get mad at him, like, "Oh, why would you fall for it?" And he said something like, "I wouldn't love her. She kicked me in the face," and I was just like, "That's such a like shallow thing for him to like." I had a problem with that because she kicks him in the face.
Well, would you like someone who kicked you in the face?
No. But I mean, like, there's like a point where like she like calls him a slave and stuff like that, and like there's like the army that she fights for as like taking out like so many of his like friends and stuff like that in his army, and like they talk about
the fact that he would only hate her because she just kicked him in the face.
Yes, like that's like I find that
I didn't think about that. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it feels like they wanted a love interest who was also an antagonist to kind of streamline that, but they couldn't find a logical way in which those two would get together. So love potion.
And yeah, and but it doesn't make sense for her turn.
No,
either.
it doesn't, because like he just says some like Shakespearean flowery dialogue.
You are my sun, my moon, my starlit sky. Without you, I dwell in darkness. I love you.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'll turn against my mother. Who cares? Fuck her. I know you for a day.
Yes. And
was this the beginning of George Lucas's ideas for Anakin and Padme?
If
I don't know how to
if this works, Anakin and Padme definitely.
But it didn't work. It doesn't work at all.
No, it doesn't. It's just like it's I mean, they kind of do their best to set it up like during the I'm going to keep calling it the dragon fight. Like she's like kind of like watching them, and like I mean, like his choreography was cool in that, but I mean, I can't see that turning a person.
Right.
Like
that's the fact that she's like immediately makes out with him, like even like it makes no sense. And there's a part afterwards where Mad Mardigan kidnaps her on the horse.
Yes.
And then she runs away, and then he tackles her, and he's on. It's like that's more creepy than.
Yeah.
But speaking of that dragon fight, I love the fact that Willow uses magic to stop an enemy, but instead made it more powerful. That was so funny.
That was like, I was watching that and I was like, this, if I watched this as a kid, that would give me so many nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
When it's like that like egg thing and there's like stuff like breaking out.
Yeah, and the fact that it's claymation, like it's kind of like janky and weird, that movement, like kind of, that's like one of the few things I remember from the movie. That and the pigmen scene. That fucked with me more, I think.
Pigman. Oh, the Pigman scene, that was...
Yeah, that's cool. Like, as a special effects thing, I'm like, amazing.
Yes.
As a kid, no. That's terrifying. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, that monster is, like, cool. Apparently, it's named... Oh, God. They named it, like, Siskobert or something. Because George Lucas wanted to name all the villains after critics who were mean to him.
Oh my! So
Siskel and Ebert. There's another person named Kale, General Kale.
Yes.
Which is named after Pauline Kael, who was a famous critic, who was apparently also mean. So it's like
Eborsisk.
Eborsisk.
So it'd be Ebert and Siskel.
Yeah.
The guy Kale.
There's a Willow wiki. That's surprising for a movie no one cares about.
How big is it?
567 pages.
Wow.
That's more than I would expect.
That is more than I would expect.
There's going to be more when the TV show comes out.
It must be made because of the TV show.
Oh,
is
yeah,
it?
probably.
Like,
Yeah.
what was I going to say? Kale.
Is that the skull face guy?
Yes.
I wish he never took the skull face off. I wish he just kept that the whole movie.
Yes. He's played by the same guy in Indiana Jones.
Which guy?
In Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's the one who gets chopped in half by the helicopter or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I forget that actor's name, but I remember him. Yeah.
What else about him? What else is there? I didn't like when he's getting the fight between him and Mad Mardigan at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like there was like...
Gets a little really violent out of nowhere, too. Like,
Gets really violent, but there was one point where it's after the mask gets smashed. That's what I didn't like.
okay.
Because it's the same thing where it maybe would have paid off a little bit more if the mask had stayed on the whole movie, and then you kind of see like the...
His face.
Yeah, the humanity underneath or something like
a
that.
Star Wars.
Yeah. Like
like a Star Wars. Yeah, I know. But in general, I found the villains kind of weak. They're very, like, they're there to fill the role. Like, Bav Morta's like, I'm an evil sorcerer.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, like, there's not much to say about the villains. I don't like how did he only ever use the stone acorn once in the whole movie against her?
Yes.
I thought that was going to have a bigger payoff. I thought that was going to be, he was going to use that in a really clever way. But he just throws it, she catches it, like, oh yeah, whatever.
I mean, I guess it kind of... At least it came back to it.
They came back to it. They could have just forgotten it.
Yes.
I remember when the love potion first got brought up, I'm like, they have to bring that back up. They can't just put that into a movie and not bring it up again.
Yes.
But, like, I just thought the acorn would be used, like, in a more clever way. But then they subverted it by doing something even more clever of him doing his disappearing act.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I like the thing at the end where he learns the trick that the magician, the sorcerer does, where he throws the rock and it turns into the bird.
I missed that.
Okay, but you remember when the guy he turned the rock into the bird
Yes,
at the beginning,
I did, yeah.
and it's like it'll lead the way. It's going back to town. Okay, just follow the river. Don't.
Yeah.
But even that scene, you think it's just a funny scene. It actually has a payoff where Willow does it at the end of the movie, and when the bird flies off, it immediately shits on the face of the bald guy.
Of the crappy guy.
Yeah, it was really... Did you miss that part, too?
I missed that.
Oh, it's so funny, because he's looking like at the bird, like, oh, I can't believe it. And it immediately shits on his face.
I don't know. I kind of missed a little bit at the end, I think.
Do you remember when he got puked on by the baby, though?
Yes.
And then he had to get someone else to clean off the vomit because he couldn't be bothered to do it himself.
Yeah, he was kind of... I didn't like... He was made to be hated.
He was made to be hated, but also kind of a comic relief, too.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, when the Billy Barty's character, the
wizard, sorcerer, whatever.
Yeah.
I forget his name.
He's like basically like forces him to go on the adventure. So then he's like, okay, no, we need the we need the great warrior.
It's like, no, we need him. Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, I like that too. But yeah, there's also like I feel like the movie would have been better if it had more of like a it feels almost like a D&D kind of thing where like they should have more of like a party. Where I liked what's his name, the guy with the brown curly fro kind of the guy who sticks with him in the beginning.
It starts with an M.
Yeah, but I would have preferred if he just stuck around. Migosh. I would have preferred if he was just around. Like I liked him more than I liked the brownies. So like
yes.
Yeah, like I think that would have been a lot better. It gave me like kind of Lord of the Rings vibes a bit with like Sam and Frodo. Like
the party kept being broken up and stuff like that.
Yeah, but also just having like the two little people and then like you have the warrior and like
yes.
Parts of it felt like very much like George Lucas wanted to make like a Hobbit movie, like especially at the beginning.
Yes.
And it's literally there and back again. He does the thing, comes back.
Yes.
But it just felt like that, but he couldn't get the rights. I looked into it. Apparently that's not the case, but
But maybe he drew inspiration.
Oh well, yeah. Well, every high fantasy anything draws
Yes.
stuff from Tolkien.
Yeah.
But it made me really wish, man. I really would have really loved a really '80s Hobbit movie. Like even if George Lucas made it, would have been like a novelty.
Well, there's the Rankin and
Rankin Bass one, but I
Yeah.
mean like a live action '80s one
Yes.
with like all the effects of the time.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Probably would have liked it more than the ones that actually came out. But like, yeah.
I mean, I don't have a whole lot of other notes. There's a couple other things. When they're on the shield sled, you can very clearly tell the body double for Willow is like just a mannequin.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like one stunt double behind acting as Mardigan.
Yeah. Well, there's a part when the sorcerer who was the animals, who we didn't talk about, but there's a part where she's like flailing the queen up in the air, and that's clearly like a dummy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a little bit intense too.
Yeah.
That fight with them at the end.
Oh yeah, it was.
So.
Yeah, that's the thing is that like this movie has it has pacing problems too. Like it feels like very like we have the party and the party's gone, and there's like a whole lot of like nothing, and then there's a lot of fast escalation. And,
Yes.
And like characters like switching sides for no reasons, like Swarsha, is that her name? Sorsha. She doesn't really have much of an arc herself, other than she's the person that Val Kilmer falls in love with, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it has a lot of flaws, but like, there's so much work that went into making the movie. Like, I think the movie still looks pretty good, aside from a few dated effects. Like I said at the beginning, like it's just a charming movie that, even with all the faults, I still like it. Mm-hmm. It's like a comfort food kind of movie, but like I really like 80s specific fantasy movies. Like I like
Princess Bride.
Never-Ending Story is one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that. So like even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. It's like pizza. So it's like, yeah, I kind of appreciate it on that level.
All right, what are your predictions for where this? So I thought it was a remake originally. You told me it's a sequel.
It's a sequel,
but it's a sequel series.
It's a sequel series, yeah.
So
because Warwick Davis is back and he's like older now, and he's actually become like a supreme wizard now. Yeah, I think the new trailer just came out. We're recording this way before we're posting this episode, by the way. Probably should have said that.
Everything.
Yeah, but like this is like 2 months before. Like what I'm talking about now is that the latest trailer that came out, I think September 10th. Yeah, it features there's like some calamity in the kingdom, and like there's a new party of guys who have to go seek out Willow because he's like the grand sorcerer who saved the kingdom. So they have to team up with him to like go and like on an adventure essentially. But yeah, like I said about the very party, it definitely has like a lot more characters. It looks moneyed up. Like it looks like they put in a lot of time and effort into it. Like the trailer looks really good.
Being made by Disney,
but also it's so good. There's like a disconnect between this and the original. A little bit, like tonally.
Yeah.
But it also still has a lot of the same type of humor. So yeah, I'm interested to see. Like it just, even if I hadn't watched Willow, if I saw the trailer for this, I'd probably been like, yeah, I should check that out because it looks really cool fantasy.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure of how they were going to like, now that you say Willow's Warwick Davis is back, like, yeah, obviously it's still, I was going to be like the end of this movie didn't leave a lot of room for follow-up. Obviously, like Willow's character, you could almost put him in any situation in that, but yeah, there was no...
He's like a mythical figure in their world now, which it plays into the whole thing of George Lucas basing the original off mythology. He's like that mythological character in this new series, it feels like. But yeah, like I'm kind of glad that it's getting the show, even though I don't think there was any demand for it.
No, I don't think so.
Any demand.
There has to be like some kind of like Disney executive who absolutely loved it, like as a kid or something like that.
It reminds me of like, do you remember Tron Legacy?
Like I've never seen it, but I know.
Have you seen the original Tron?
No.
Okay. Well, Tron was a movie that also came out and was a huge flop.
Yes.
But a lot of people, and like no one really ever talked about it, but it had a very small cult following.
Yeah.
But it's like the same thing you said, where I think someone at Disney really was like, I really like this movie, and I think it has a cult following. Let's put all of our money into like a big budget movie. It'll be our next Pirates of the Caribbean because this is pre-MCU.
Yes.
And then it also did not make money. But like Willow feels like even like less than that in a way, because people know Tron's aesthetics at least.
Yes.
People know the light cycle, and like, but people don't know Willow. So it's like it's crazy that they put what looks like a lot of money into this new show.
I mean, is it also like the idea that like Hollywood can't come out with
New ideas? Yeah, but that's the thing is like when you come up with like when there's been like fuck how many Ghostbusters in the last 5 years? Like 2.
There's been 2. Well, longer than 5 years though, because that
was 27. I don't know, but it doesn't matter for my analogy. But like people will go see a new Ghostbusters even if it sucks because there's a strong nostalgia.
Yes.
Where's the basis for this? Like, there's no strong nostalgia.
No.
I think they're mostly... It's more just, like, a vague thing of, like, I think I remember hearing that once before, and then counting on the fact that person also likes fantasy.
Is it counting on the pedigree? Like, this is a George Lucas property?
Yeah. It'll have the Lucasfilm thing in the beginning of it, for sure. But like I've said, like maybe it's just a thing of like they got it in the deal when they got Lucasfilm. Maybe they're just doing that because,
well, it's a property that we can use.
It's a property we can milk.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like that's why I kind of wanted to make this video.
Yeah. Because
maybe there's people who will see this who've never seen a Willow, and like I'm just gonna say you should check it out. It's on Disney Plus. Like, it's like I'm not shilling for Disney Plus, by the way. But like no, like it's like an underappreciated gem. Like I think it deserves more love than it gets. So if this new series does that, then that's good.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Yeah, the new series, like they're obviously pushing it. If it's like 2 months from now and they're putting out trailers, I mean, Disney Plus is doing something now. I'm pointing to my TV back there. Like,
yeah, it's about 3 rooms over that way.
My Disney Plus, like that, I love what they're doing right now. Is they have a tab now of coming soon.
Yeah.
So it's like I can see, and that's like how I like realized, oh yeah, Willow's coming out, and then I put it together. I was like, oh yeah, Kyle said he wanted to do Willow.
I did, and I didn't think anything would come of that, but here we did. We did it. You're welcome, Warwick Davis. Now you don't have to. Now with this new show, you don't have to do any more Leprechaun sequels. That's an uncultured episode.
I don't think I want to go there. I'm not
You don't. It's a joke. We're not watching Leprechaun.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
I
don't know.
Episode successful. We did it without Adam.
Hopefully, we'll see in the edit.
How do we stop the camera? Oh shit! Oh, fuck. Adam! I need to turn the camera on!